All right. All righty. Oh, and then we have two. Excellent. We have Cassidy Drennan and we have Dr. Robertson. Great. I have a cat in my way. Okay. Cassidy, where are you?
I attended the last meeting as well. I'm coming from Central Connecticut State University in Connecticut, New Brand.
And you're the president there, yes?
Yes.
Of the chapter. Very
yes.
good. Mm-hmm. And we are honored to have Michelle Robertson, who is the head kahuna there. And can you tell the group what school you're with?
So I am full-time at Friends University in Wichita. We have two campuses. I'm in the Wichita campus, which has the Beta chapter. And then our Kansas City has the Gamma chapter.
All right. And we have a Denise Williams. Denise, can you hear me? There she is. Denise.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Michelle.
Hello. This is our chapter advisor. One of our chapter advisors is here.
Wonderful. Denise, you're one of the chapter advisors, faculty advisor.
Yes.
And you are also at Friends? No,
I'm with Indiana Wesleyan University.
Okay, great.
Yes,
great.
The presidents and vice presidents, they couldn't attend, so I told them I would sit in and just kind of take some notes. So I'm so excited for this. So thank you for letting me kind of jump in.
Well, I'm excited too. I don't think we've ever had this many people, so that's very exciting. Very exciting.
All righty. Momentum, it's happening.
Well, but we have to be patient, right, Rebecca? Well,
yes.
Michelle, I'm just delighted that you're here because we have.
Well, I'm not confident I will know them, but I will certainly go find what
but at least you can validate that our questions are appropriate questions. So. So for those of you for this is your first time, we are just trying to get a council of presidents of all the chapters, some 32, 34, something like that, Michelle?
26 or 7 active.
Oh, active. Okay. We might have 30 something that are named, but okay. All righty. You know, the general purpose initially was just share resources, share ideas, taking the lead on this. And Rebecca has been doing great. Everyone's got the newsletter. Mandy.
Dr. Schooley, I'm so sorry. What were we voting on?
We weren't voting. We were acknowledging receipt of the newsletter.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
And so that's great. So we're hoping to get, we do this. I'm hoping we get more and more. There are so many things that we could do. One of the things we can do would be just as simple as that and no more than that, if that's what the group decides. We could get, thanks, Mandy. We could get as complicated or complex rather. I was told in my master's program that it's not complicated, it's just complex. So we could get as complex as having a board that actually, does things, and we have elected officers and a treasurer and all that kind of stuff. And I think, Michelle, at one point you floated the idea that maybe this group and the board that may or may not come out of it then becomes kind of the ruling body of it. Okay, so I'm taking from your gesture that would be a thing you would love to do. So right now, you're having to manage the books, the bank account, the website. You're managing all of those things. Yep. And you would love to pass that on. I'm guessing
to share the wealth.
Yeah. And I'm guessing with all of these chapters, the bank account is probably pretty healthy.
It's not bad.
Not bad. All right.
Some funds.
Great. So could you guesstimate for us? Are we talking a couple of thousand or a couple of 10,000?
Let me just tell you.
All right. All right.
It is like, I don't want to be precise. Oh, I have to do the second.
Okay, so you'll look at it, you'll get back to us. Okay, good. So, but of course, just meeting and exchanging ideas and, getting poor Rebecca to do the newsletter, which I think she likes doing, but having you all contribute to the newsletter, tell us what your chapter's doing, tell us how many people you initiated. That would be, I would love to have a place where we just have a list of all the new initiation numbers. Rebecca, you've been talking about using some of that newsletter or maybe some other things to create an entire DK wide newsletter that would
Yes.
go out to all the members.
Can I pause you for a second, Dr. Schooley? I'm going to just plug this in. In the newsletter, there is a little spotlight. So if you want to spotlight yourself or a board member that you have or an advisor, feel free to send me a quick little snippet and some pictures, and I will post it so that way it will be recognized.
I could even see us doing really, to me, kind of prosaic stuff like a list of graduates who has the chapter, just newsletter about an event raiser that they had. Just really anything that you're doing could go into that newsletter, and then it could be useful for all of the chapters and all of the members to see something is happening. I know that I have heard people say that if I know something's happening, then I'll join. Then I'll get engaged. But if I don't know if anything's happening, then I don't want to volunteer, because there's nothing happening. So we have to show that something is happening.
So what I've been doing at my school with the newsletter and reaching out is right now is, like you stated, in graduation, that's that time. And right now it's capstone time and license time for us. So it's a lot of things happening. So what I did was, I'm on another board as well in Connecticut for the AMFT. And we're hosting a study group. The only requirement is you need to be a MFT member. You don't have to be part of like Connecticut. So I think, I'll definitely send you that information. We're holding a study group. And that's been increasing engagement for our meetings. People want to be a part of a group that, collaborates professionally. So, I use that as a huge turning point with trying to recruit other students into joining Delta Kappa at my school, and I got a huge response. So what we're doing with that interest is we're surveying, and we're taking data and stuff too. I can share that when that's all finished, probably be done after my time. And I really wish I got involved last year or 2 years ago, because now I'm graduating in a month. But so that's something just the study groups right now, everyone's license time, graduation time, people are driven, or even practicum students, joining into it or just coming into their grad program, joining. I think it's a great way for them to kind of immerse themselves and to see kind of what we're doing, or just even this collaborative network of professionals and all over the country. It's not just, us in Connecticut struggling. Everyone, everywhere, we have, the same kind of war stories. So I think, that'd be helpful too.
I totally agree with you, Cassidy. There are so many things that are universal across all the chapters. And then in addition to that, there's things that are very, very different. So the on-ground schools have a very different kind of schedule than, say, the online schools. The semester schools have a very different experience than the quarter-based schools. The schools that tend to have a lot younger school population versus the schools where they tend to be somewhat older. I know that at Capella, our average age is something like 35, which is really different than a school that brings in most of their people at 22, 23. So there's such different needs depending on what the school, where they're located, all of those kinds of things. But we can still share all those ideas. So Cassidy, just so I can, Tina is doing our minutes right now. But certainly one of the things we'd like to come out of today is, would anybody be willing to be a part of a quasi steering committee until we get enough participation of the presidents to start to have a board, you know, with a president, a vice president, all that kind of good stuff. And until then, a steering committee of like a chair and a secretary. I don't know that we're ready to have a treasurer, but certainly someone who can be, you know, watching out for those kinds of things, and maybe a newsletter person, you know, that can collect information and do that. So that's definitely something I'd want us to see if we can make that happen. But you were saying, Cassidy, that the study group is connected to your geographic interest group. Is that what you're saying?
So I know every state as well has their own different exams and requirements and such. But so this study group is kind of, it's not just, you know, it's studying as well, but I think it's just also a space, a safe space to discuss stressors, to vent as well. I think it's, you know, such an overwhelming experience. So for example, my vice president's a practicum student and I am a, you know, intern student, and her experience is so different than mine because I started as telehealth. So now they're, you know, it's just so different with all these different things. So I think just having a space for people to talk to others. And I feel like you know, from our last meeting, I think there was a woman on the meeting and she was in Singapore or something, right? I think it was here, was it? I'm in a lot of different societies, but it was one of the meetings. And this woman was, you know, she was a MFT and she was in Singapore and she was talking about her journey traveling across. And I'm like, wow, I've never heard of that. So I went back to like not my students, but like my group. And I was telling them about this and they're like, what do you mean? Like we can leave the state and do things? And I'm like, yeah, you don't have to stay in Connecticut forever. Just like little things like that, you know, just even just having that collaborative network of people just to come together and just to talk. Like this was my experience of taking the exam. I took that exam 15 years ago, but you know, or I just took that exam last week or last year, and this is some tips and tricks and things. I think that space. And I think from there, what our goal is to kind of create more focused breakout rooms. So if people want to discuss different theories and stuff, that's what we're kind of gathering the data to see what the interest is right now. But it's kind of like, you know, non-structured, you know, we can have breakout rooms. It's, you know, whatever it needs to serve somebody at that time. But I just know this is a stressful time. I am included here right now. And, you know, I present, for example, next Wednesday, I'll present my capstone and I'm talking to my vice president. I'm like, this is what I would do if I were you. Right. And we don't ever have a space for that. I only met her because of this board and being on Delta Kappa. I would have never talked to her because I'm virtual. And I would have never met any of you guys. Right. So, but I think we create a platform together in a space. And then whether that day needs to be for venting or whatever, so be it. But we kind of, you know, my idea with that and my group is kind of creating my theme in my presidency, I guess, is professional development and finding places and spaces for us to connect and to just have conversations with people in Texas and stuff. Like even myself, and I'm kind of on a tangent now, but I want to move. I don't want to stay in Connecticut forever. And my biggest anxiety of that is getting a license somewhere else. What do I have to do? How much more money do I have to put into this never ending money pit, it seems. So just having that collaborative network opened that for me as well. So that's what I'm doing. I can definitely share that information with you. It is obviously based in Connecticut, but you know, it's not really specific to Connecticut legislature or anything. So, and I think it'd be a great opportunity to learn about different places, different experiences, hearing from different age groups. Like there's so many different, you know, just such a diverse group of people and, you know, being in this field. And I think, you know, we're very lucky and fortunate that it's like that. And I think, you know, definitely using that as a tool and just even for connecting, you know, half of these people don't even have a LinkedIn account. And I'm like, at least do that, please. Like, can you guys at least go make a LinkedIn? If you're not going to join my society or do anything, go do that. But yeah, so just professional development and using that time as a study space if needed or.
Great. Yeah. Denise, what are some of the things that your group is doing?
Yeah, no, first, I really loved getting the newsletter. We're a really small group. We've had a lot of students in the past year or so graduate, and so we're trying to do this dance of making sure that they're still part, they're active, but also kind of bringing in the new members and such. And so really, we have a president, a vice president, and they kind of like alternate other roles. So it's pretty tough, but we say that we're small but mighty. So that's kind of how we approach it. But recently, actually yesterday, we did an event for similar to what Cassidy's talking about, just to talk a little bit about the licensure process. We're in the state of Indiana. And so what that whole process was like. So we actually had our chair for our department come in and talk about their part that they fill out as far as the application process. We talked a little bit about the national exam, and we actually also did like the resource that you guys provided in the newsletter for the prep kind of Zoom meetings or such. And so that was such a cool resource to be able to provide to students and everything. And so we specified it for Delta Kappa members, but then we also wanted our MFT students just in general to be a part of it, just because it's just that kind of information that everyone needs. And then partly because we're so small, we're just wanting people to be just connected to the resources that Delta Kappa is offering. And so we're planning on another meeting later this semester, just to kind of have a professional come in and talk to students about after graduation, what their experience has been like, and just kind of for students, I think a lot of times we do so much emphasis on the coursework and everything, but it's like beyond that. Now, what do I do as a professional? And so just kind of getting them connected to different resources outside of the program is going to be helpful as well. So.
Excellent.
Denise, where are you located in Indiana?
We're Indianapolis, so we're
Okay.
Yeah.
I know there's a Wesleyan in Jeffersonville. So do you have a marriage and family therapy program at the one in Jeffersonville?
No, so we only have the marriage and family program in Marion, Indiana, Indianapolis, and then we have online. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think like IW, the national global side, they have like a lot of different branches, and so there are branches in Maryville.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of different places. So yeah.
If you were in Jeffersonville, I was gonna say we could do some joint things, but because we're in Louisville, so
okay.
But Indianapolis is a little bit further, so.
But you can still do joint things virtually.
Yeah, I was going to say, but we do have students because of our online program. We do have students who are in that area, though. So definitely would love to partner. Like I said, we're small, but yeah.
Right. Well, and we have like 39 or 41 members or something. So we're not very big either, but there's a lot of, since we're right at the river of, Kentucky, Indiana, a lot of us get licensed in Kentucky and Indiana. So being like partnering on some of that stuff might be smart.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think right now, for students and kind of, I think School, you were saying this is, I think for a lot of our students, they're trying to see like, what's the benefit of Delta Kappa, and I think kind of like just being able to see representation across, like, hey, not just at IWU, but at other institutions, other places. I think that would be amazing just to connect with you, Sherry, and just kind of see how we can link arms and join forces there. That would be incredible.
And as you do that, as you were to connect and do a joint event, and then we write that up and we put that into a newsletter that goes out to all the chapters, then the other chapters will get inspired to also do cross-state or cross-school things, because nowadays everybody's moving everywhere. And then of course the online schools, we are literally everywhere. And so, to talk about the national exam makes sense, except the Californians. But right now, really talking about, the licensure process and what can you do with this degree. I'm just realizing that I have a colleague that I'm hoping to have lunch with soon, who wrote the book, Doing Well by Doing Good. And the whole book is about what can you do with your MFT degree? What are the different things you can do? So wouldn't it be great if I could get her to do a workshop and invite all of Delta Kappa, record it, and create some sort of YouTube channel where it could go live, right? These are the kinds of things that Delta Kappa International can do. So each of the chapters do things, and then Delta International, when we have a steering committee or a board or whatever, can start to plan international things. Do we have any Delta Kappas internationally? Do we have any schools internationally?
We don't have any actual schools, but we have lots of students. I ship their certificates all over.
How about that? So they may be doing online school in a US school, but are located internationally. Yeah, that's great. That's great. And I don't, because one of the requirements, of course, is COAMFT accreditation. So I don't know if we have any international COAMFT, but I'm sure we'll get those eventually.
I'm sure we will.
Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, the internationalness is that we have members internationally, not necessarily chapters internationally.
Now there is, I'm sorry to interrupt. On the Delta Kappa website, there is, I guess, association with the International Marriage and Family
IFTA?
something, yeah, IFTA, and then there's another one that I don't remember off the top of my head.
Probably
so
AFTA, IFTA and AFTA.
Are we still associating with those members? Because I know when I reached out to our chapter advisors, they were like, well, this group is pretty friendly with MFTs, but this group is more so catered towards like LPCs. So are we still, partnering with those organizations, or is it something where we would probably, are they even around?
That's a great question. I'm not sure. There's not any sort of formal partnership. That is not to say there can't be.
Right. And that could be a goal for this group to put into. Yeah. Sherry. Sherry?
Oh, I was going to ask if we were talking, we're talking about all of these groups and all of these like virtual schools having people all over. I mean, I'm sure you have people that go to Capella that live in Kentucky, and so they could attend, even though they're a member of your chapter, they could attend a live event here. And so I think we need to maybe publicize our events a little bit more so
yes.
that people that are virtual can connect to the ones that
absolutely We've just put out a newsletter. We're going into the next geographic quarter. If you and Rebecca is trying to put a newsletter out every month. So if you will tell us what your group is doing about a live one, you're right, that both NCU and all the other online schools, if there's people in your geographic area, we can say it's a Delta Kappa event. Doesn't matter what chapter you're part of, you can come. And of course, if any of you are doing virtual events, we can invite all of Delta Kappa to come. So absolutely, but we can't, if you don't tell us so we can put it in the newsletter, then we're limited. Yes.
Well, and I just, when you said that there were local people, that there were people all over, I was like, well, why aren't we connecting with them? We don't get like a benefit in our personal chapter of financially or anything, but we might get a in-person benefit of meeting someone new and, gathering information from them.
And let me point out that right now, Capella's membership is over 800. But if you talk about, but I would say of that 800, 650, 700 are alumni. So that's another untapped resource, is to engage the alumni in being on committees and doing events and all of those kinds of things. Now, Michelle, remind me, our bylaws say that in order to serve on a chapter board, they have to be currently students of the chapter. right? They have to be
That is
students.
what our bylaws say, is
Right.
that active chapter has to be active student.
An active
Half-
student,
Did you
not
say
an
half
alumni.
the chapter?
The active chapter, to be a member of an active chapter on a board, sorry.
To be a board member, to serve on the board. Okay. But nothing
Oh,
says
well.
that you can't have committee chairs,
Correct.
committee members,
Correct.
people do, nothing says you can't get the alumni engaged in that.
And nothing prohibits the addition of an officer who is like a board member at large who may be an alumni representative. So there's nothing that prohibits people from adding. Those 7 officer positions have to be filled by student members.
Now, once, if they have a 2-year term and they came into office as a student, can they complete their term as an alumni?
Yeah, we don't really micromanage that.
Okay.
If
Okay.
the chapter's
Would
okay
this-
with it, that's fine.
Is there a reason for
this-
that? I'm sorry, Rebecca.
That's okay. I was just curious, would this be something we could vote on changing chapter bylaws? Or
Sure,
I guess when we get to that point, possibly the whole organization bylaws?
absolutely. There is nothing other than our name that is really set in stone. Everything from there, we want this to be a functional organization. So simply because right now the bylaws say you have to be a current student to be an officer, that doesn't have to stay that way. It's just what it says right now.
Or as you said, Michelle, we could change the bylaws to say that 50% or
Yes.
something like that have to be active students,
Yeah.
so that it doesn't become an exclusively alumni organization. Exactly, that kind of thing. So, but right now it's students. So anyway, the thing is there is more to be done that could be done that all of us doing full time could accomplish.
Yes.
Right? So we only have so much time, so we have to make priorities. But let me get back through the room here. So Heather, what sorts of things are you doing in your chapter?
I'm somewhat new to the presidency, but we do at least once a semester host a virtual, well, now it's virtual, but a training so that somebody could get a CE unit for, and actually I was listening, but I was also like composing an email to my supervisor because we have one coming up at the end of April, and I'm interested in extending the invitation to, all chapters through the newsletter, because at this point, since it is virtual, it's not like, oh, come to California for this big deal thing. It's on, we can log into Zoom, and I think that'd be really cool. Lately, I think the last one, maybe we had like 34, 35 people join, so there's pretty good turnout. Our alum have reported really enjoying being online, so I think that if we could, broaden the scope and more Delta Kappa people could join, that'd be cool. Aside from that, I mean, something that we also do is we make sure to make graduation stoles for our graduates. Technically, we don't limit it, like it's not only for the Delta Kappa, so it doesn't have Delta Kappa on it, but it's like a fundraiser that we do as a chapter and make graduation stoles, and like the graduates will purchase it, and it's our fundraiser. So I guess those are kind of like the bigger things that our chapter does, inspired by the newsletter. Also, I'm interested in doing a podcast of the month. And so we have a little bit of a committee rolling for that. Yeah. Yeah, I don't like the idea necessarily of adding more reading to our workload because, we have a lot of reading to do. But maybe if you have a commute or just want to listen to something, podcasts are a really cool way to kind of stay up to date with what's going on. Yeah, I've been taking notes though. I like the idea of study groups, alumni representative. So that's us.
Excellent. Excellent. Sherry, you said you also have an event coming up. Is that right?
Well, when we're done here, I have a committee meeting at 8 o'clock. So right after this, and we will decide for sure, but kind of what we're kind of doing quarterly, not set in stone, but just something like every probably 2 months, because getting people involved is a struggle. So we're doing our induction in April. In June, we're talking about doing like a picnic on campus or by campus, just for people to meet and greet type of thing. In August, the VA is really strong here and they offer free PTSD training. So we're going to reach out to them and see if they will come and do, something along that lines with PTSD and like trauma informed. I'm also a trauma informed care trainer. And so I may partner with that and do a seminar with them if they don't have enough to fill a meeting. We'll do another induction in October. January, we're going to do a taxes and business development workshop, because they don't teach you how to run a business when you're in school, and I need to find, and so my tax person is willing to talk about that. I used to be a small business consultant before I switched careers, and so like helping people build businesses and things like that. I don't know if I will do that also, because I don't want to be the only speaker, but I do have a couple other people that could possibly speak on that used to work for me. And we'll reach out to the community. There's a couple other people I have in mind for that. And then in March, we want to do some sort of give back or charity based thing that we could use our field. So like a Mary Kay consultant that does makeup would go to the homeless or to the cancer wing and do makeup for cancer patients. A hairdresser would go give the homeless haircuts and things like that. So we want to find something within our field that we can do to give back. And so we're kind of brainstorming on that, but we're talking March of next year so that we have time to come up with something. So those are kind of what our this year plans are. We really don't feel like we're going to get a lot of engagement in person, even though we're an in-person school, because I know in my class, there's people from 2 to 3 hours away that drive in that one night a week to take a class. So it might be a struggle to get in person. So
sure, but you might get people to the picnic,
Well, and that's the thing. We wanted to do at least one in-person event, but the PTSD and the business development workshops could be virtual. So
right. And wouldn't it be great if we threw that open to all of DK and you had lots of attendance?
Right, yeah. Right.
So that would be great to create some sort of a panel for each chapter could talk about when their inductions were and how many they inducted and what their, and people could see it and notice which ones are virtual and which ones are in person. And if they're local to that, they could do the in-person one. Yeah, I think that would be fantastic.
So, even if we did a calendar of events in the newsletter that was like in April, this is going on, Louisville, Campbellsville in Louisville, Kentucky is hosting this event virtually or in person or whatever. And that way,
exactly.
And it's, to verbalize that it is open to any Delta Kappa member from any school would be helpful, I think, too.
Absolutely. So, absolutely.
But our board has really struggled. First of all, we didn't know about the whole board has to be students. So there are some alumni on our board. So I guess we'll need to change that, including myself, because I've graduated a few years ago. But our advisor to our board recruited all of us. So he must not have known that rule either, because he recruited alumni as well. So,
well, you got to get started somehow.
True.
I'm not super worried about it.
Well, we just really had no idea. And when you said that, I was like, oh no, because I'm an alumni. There's a girl that's graduating in May, another alumni, a student that has another year, another alumni, and a student that just started the program.
Okay, so you've got 2 current students.
And I feel like we're real diverse in what we do and stuff like that. So I think that, I mean, when Rebecca was asking about changing that, I think it would be very important, because just engaging students kind of excludes alumni a little bit, and alumni are the ones that I think students need to reach out to get information from. So, you know, why reinvent the wheel? I did this and I messed up, and you can learn from my mistakes, or I did this and it was successful and I'm willing to share. So I really feel like the alumni is a huge piece of it.
Absolutely. I agree that engaging alumni, I think, is critical, because over time, the percentage of membership is going to be predominantly alumni.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're trying to do that kind of stuff. We've done some fundraising type of things, but really haven't done much, just because our school has gone from in-person to virtual to, I mean, it's been chaos. And then I dropped the ball for a little while because I started a private practice and hired a whole bunch of people. And so I kind of am like lost focus for a little while. So we're back rolling again.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, Michelle, what's happening in the Friends chapter?
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I had to jump in my car. So the Friends chapter has kind of been in a, maybe a bit of a rhythm, you could say, and we might need to shake it up a little, but we have a monthly brown bag lunch and learn that we've done for a long time that offers free CEUs to area clinicians. It's organized by the current students, which pushes them to connect in the area network so that they can they get to decide what topics, and then I help them and they collaborate to find qualified clinicians who can come in and speak on those topics. We do fun things. COVID has really dampened much of our fun because our cohorts are not on the same night anymore. We're a 1 night a week program as well. Unfortunately, our first years are on Tuesdays and our second years are on Thursday nights. So it's dampened our fun, but we do a lot of things around cohort formation and, ice cream socials, and everybody brings a quarter and drops it in and gets to make their own sundae. And then we always do an annual t-shirt fundraiser where they create something really clever that is sold to all members, not just Delta Kappa. It's sold really to all of the current students for that year. So they have their annual cohort t-shirt. So we're about to do our spring induction in 2 weeks. This is the first opportunity for our first year students to join the organization. And we always have 1 or 2 second years who either didn't qualify last year or decided not to join, and they'll be joining then. That's kind of where we are.
Wow. All right. So, so that's great. And I'm noticing the time. I want to be respectful of that fact. So at this point, since we only really have 4 presidents in the room, 4 presidents, 1 past president, and 3 faculty. So I don't want to twist anybody's arm to say that they're going to be on a steering committee, but can I at least ask that you all come back, that you all come back to the next meeting, which is, Rebecca, June 22nd.
It's June. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, June 22nd. Put that in your calendars. And can you, each of you, send at least 1 blurb about an event that's either upcoming or that you've had, that we can put into the newsletter, so that we can keep growing that and showing engagement and getting more people engaged. Michelle, I have a sense that we really can't, of course, yes, I think we just talked about that. If you came in as a student, you can finish your term. Yes, we did kind of say that. So if you all will send things, promise to come back, and Rebecca and Tina and Michelle and I will keep engaging the other presidents and see if we can't get more people engaged. And maybe when we have more like 15 people present, we can start maybe asking people to volunteer to take some leadership roles, not formal board yet, but just kind of slowly get ourselves organized. Does that sound like something doable?
Yes, I love it. And I just want to add, we do have the finances to do this. It's really this account, other than sending me off to install chapters and set up shop at AMFT and manage our the cost of our outside person for our website. The money just sits. So let's make good use of that financial resource. And I am also going to continue to prod all of the chapter advisors to get us presidents' names, as well as getting them to engage.
Lovely. Yeah, and of course getting accurate emails so that we can get them to the Rebecca. How many bounce backs did we have the last time? Not very many.
2, but
2. That's not bad.
Dr. Robertson's aware of that.
That's
Yay.
not bad.
And Rebecca, did you see that I updated that list with highlighted names last weekend with new people?
Well, to be honest with you, I haven't looked at the list. So
Okay, there are at least 15 or 20 more names on there now.
okay, I'll transpose it and send it into my
Yay.
little list.
Wonderful, wonderful. And Michelle, if this group wanted to send a newsletter to the whole of DK, how would that happen?
I can pull a roster from the website. I know, Rebecca, you had written to me to ask about sending something through GoDaddy. That's
Yes.
way out above my pay grade. So if we want to get on a Zoom call and log in and screen share, we can make sure we have the capacity. And if we don't, we can figure out how to get it. I am
Okay.
all in on all that.
Cool beans.
So right now I've got hardcore raw Excel document spreadsheet. That's all I've got.
And one of the things that I think might help make this council stronger is if we invite not only current presidents, but maybe an immediate past president, to be so that we would have in-class people and also recent alumni to make this stronger, and also to have more people to draw from to do things. But yeah, so those are just some ideas. This is, the only thing is, as Michelle said, the only thing that's in stone is the name. And Rebecca and Tina and I, we just wanted to put it out there and see if people wanted to come. We're thrilled y'all are here. And Denise, if you can get your president or vice president to show up next time. And Michelle will keep prodding the other chapters to come as well.
Love it.
All right. Any other thoughts or questions anybody has that's here? Anyone?
I just wanted to make sure with the newsletter, I know it's listed as like President's Council newsletter, but it's open for anyone. So to send it out to the like Delta Kappa members, is that fine, or is it really for the presidents more?
You can send it out to whoever you want to, but we are working on a process to be able to send it in a more generalized scale. Okay.
Yeah. At this point, we really don't have we don't have enough going on in a president's council to have it exclusive. So right now, yeah, we'll send it to you as faculty advisor and to the president. Please feel free to share it with everybody in your program and your alumni and all that, because alumni can join, right, Michelle? They can join after they've graduated.
Yes, absolutely they can.
Okay, so like I said, then eventually alumni will be the lion's share of the membership. So we're going to have to find a way to engage and activate and otherwise, leverage that group. So yeah, I think that's fine to send it out to whoever. Yep. And send us copy to go into the newsletter.
Yes.
Great. All right. Well, Rebecca, if I recall correctly, somewhere on the newsletter is the email to send stuff to you to go into the newsletter. Is that not right?
Yes. You
Okay.
can also respond to the many emails that I've bombarded everyone with lately. But I can also put the email in the chat.
Great.
I can do that right now.
And maybe with the next newsletter, we'll ask each chapter to provide us certain information. And then we can start putting little, calendar of events that's going on with the various places. And Sherry, feel free to give us the whole year, because if we show that we're putting it out a whole year in advance, then people will go, oh, okay, well, we could do that too. So yeah, I think that would be great.
Well, not only that, but I don't know about your areas. I mean, every therapist around here is booked out at least 3 to 4 months. And so trying to get something on my calendar before the end of June is ridiculous. So
Which is why we scheduled these meetings for the whole year.
yeah.
Exactly why we did that. So
June 22nd at 7 p.m. is the next one. Is that what you
7
said?
Eastern. Yeah. 7 Eastern, 6 Central. Yep. The same link. Yeah. This is the Pi chapters link. Eventually we'll have a President's Council Zoom account eventually, but we don't need one just yet. The fact that Pi chapter has enough wherewithal, and that's fine with us. Okay. All right. Any other last questions or comments from anyone?
Just a huge thank you to all of you for coming and thinking and dreaming and planning and all of this. Bless you.
Excellent. And Tina, you got those notes that we're going to be able to put all these ideas from Cassidy and Sherry and Denise and Heather's groups.
Absolutely.
We can put that all out there and let people know what we're all doing. So we probably won't have minutes. Probably what we'll do is put all the ideas in the newsletter, because we're not really doing formal minutes just yet. They're all just ideas. So, okay, great. Well, we look forward to hearing from you for things to go in the newsletter. And we look forward to seeing you in June.
Bye, all.
Bye,
Take care,
everyone.
everyone.